Okay folks, so this time I'm gonna be making more of a moon jar. I'm actually gonna start with this one, which will just be a round bottom, two bowls, but pretty big difference, 6.5 on the bottom, 4 for the top. This one will have, let me see what I wanna say. I'm gonna make them similar to last time. So this one will have a bottom, and then this one will have an opening at the bottom. Yeah. And then the next one I'm gonna actually have a closed bottom. I'll do this one first and then this one. This one's more similar to the first, to the cylinder forms that we did. So starting with 6.5 pounds. Clay is kind of hard, unfortunately, but hopefully not too hard. Let's do the wake up since it is hard. This will help it. It's also been sitting a bit. Okay. Now, sponge, and first I'm going to just kind of guesstimate where the top will be. The bottom part is going to be a bowl that comes in, so I have to make it to the in part and then belly it out. So let's see, I'm not really sure, but just gonna guess. Looks pretty tall, but it is 6.5 pounds. Okay, let's see here. Wish me luck. I've been having some pain in my pinky, so I've been having to center differently. I used to use my pinky quite a bit with centering, and now I have to kind of marry it to my index finger and kind of get it more out of the way and use other parts of my hands to center. The part that I was doing with my pinky, I have to stop. The pinky is not made to center clay. I was overusing it. Okay. So. Okay. Feeling for the pop to come into center in my hands. I have to focus on not using this pinky. Keep it there. Okay. Now I have my drawing here, so I don't want it to be too wide to start, because, and this one will get a pedestal also. I'm just trying to make it the shape of the moon jar on the inside. Kind of seeing the finished form here. Elbow in. Okay. Looks kind of thick there. Let's see here. Now, this will need to be trimmed, so that's something to think about. Throw a pedestal foot on it, but I have to trim it, so maybe I shouldn't do the pedestal foot and just trim it. Let's see how much clay I have here. At first I was just thinking I was just going to add the pedestal like a cylinder, but no, this is enough clay to trim a nice foot on. It's like 3/4 of an inch. I'd actually like a taller foot, so I might wind up throwing the foot on it. Okay, let's just go ahead and do that. If I had more, maybe I would trim it out, but I think we're gonna pivot here as I remember and figure out these kinds of things. Changing form. Okay. It's like a little off center here in the middle. Okay, and I'm going to give it the spiral. Okay, so now recentering this big lump. My thumb is also not in the best shape, so that's fun. See if I can get my claw in there, and just feeling for it to come into center before I start my pull. Compressing quite a bit, and just thinking of the first pull as being an evening out of the wall as I compress it back in to center. Leaving the rim thick for that joint. Okay, so now let's pull this wall, and I'm going to use the sponge, bringing my fingers towards each other underneath for the bowl practice, and slowly beginning the ascent. I don't know if you could tell, but I just slowed the wheel down. I'm losing just a little bit off the edge. This is a tall bowl shape. I also lost a little bit on the inside. My fingers weren't totally opposite each other. And thick at the rim. And let's continue. I'm gonna go ahead and do a fingers like a rib pull because I think my fingers weren't totally opposite each other. It got a little bit off, and I really want to discipline this to be an on-center pot as much as possible. So just evening everything out. A little extra care at the rim. Okay, let's keep going. I'm just going to give it the tiniest bit of water inside and outside to help me with the pull. Okay, lost most of that, but I'll dig under with my finger. And I'm going to go ahead and do the pull with my finger. Going slowly at the bottom. Okay. And I went through a little hairy area and then kind of got to smooth sailing. It's tricky having the pointer there because something in me says that's actually where it should be, but it's not necessarily the truth. It's just a pointer. But maybe it is right, but I tend to just throw it to the pointer, so anyway, we'll see how this goes. Okay. And another finger pull, a little bit of water, just trickling it down onto my finger so it'll go on the edge of the pot, hopefully. I'm not used to putting water on the pot, but I think with this big, so much clay, it's a little helpful. Okay, I'm gonna dig under, one last dig, and let's do our pull slowly at the bottom. Okay, I think I've gotten it pretty thin, so I'm going to speed it up and see if I can regain control here. Because it was getting top heavy and starting to wobble. Okay, I think we made it. A little messy, but I think we're there. Recentering. Centered rim is a centered pot. Now let's go back, give it some form. fingers like a rib, just a little at a time, especially since I had a little problem there. Okay. I really am kind of married to the pointer in a certain weird way. Okay, well, hopefully it's right. Okay, so now more, bringing it out, thinking moon, moon, moon. I think I need it to be a little wider because I'm thinking about this top bowl if it's going to be 3 inches. I mean 3 inches, 3 pounds. See if I can widen that out here a little bit. £3 is a lot, you know, especially without a significant base. So let's see if I can bring it up bigger to accommodate that. This is my first pancake here. Okay. Passing the horizon and coming back in. Okay, so we still need to round that out some, but it's getting closer to what I was hoping for, so that's a good thing. If I do start to lose it at this point, I have my heat gun, so I can kind of save myself here. Not that it's that dangerous of a curve, but it's a crutch that I don't usually use, so I usually have to be a lot more careful about the bottoms, but I feel like a little more adventurous here. Yeah? I got it to work! Woo! Awesome, Neems, amazing. Maybe I don't have to trim it. Oh, that'd be nice. Gosh, that would be nice. Nima thought he broke a pretty expensive piece of equipment yesterday, so he just let me know that he fixed it. Whoa. Okay. All right. I think that's not bad. Very cool. And I think I'd like to take the measurements here because if I make another one, then I'll be here. Normally I would make it in series and do a few of these and then a few of those. Maybe that is what I should do because I'm here. Okay, so just getting that ready for his partner. Okay, so I guess I'm not quite sure about the bottom, so I'm just gonna leave that for now. But it would be really nice to not have to trim it. Wow, wouldn't that be amazing? Not trim a bowl. Okay, let's just put this aside and think. And I think that what I will do is just make the second one because it's just always easier to do the second one. So why waste this opportunity? Okay, so now I'm gonna make the lid. I think this is too much clay. I think I just need 3 pounds and this is 4. So I can either take some off or I can have this be the one that has the bottom. I think that's what I'll do, is have this be the one that has the bottom, so I can throw the neck on it. Okay, so we'll do that. Now, the nice thing about having this here is that it's going to be the same diameter. It's going to be shorter, but it's going to be the same diameter, so I can kind of look over the top to see my width. Basically, I can still throw it to the pointer, but it probably just won't reach that height. At least I hope it won't. Okay. I think I should have started with smaller ones first to kind of get it done, but it just seems like moon jars should be big. Should. Got a lovely bubble. A lovely humongous air bubble. Hopefully that'll come out early. Trying to work it out here. Okay, let's go down. And we'll go all the way to the bat. And then I'll come up just a little bit and open. So it has a floor, but it also has a hole. Okay. Okay, and then I'll bring that hole, open that hole just a little bit more. So right now it's about 1.5 inches or 2 inches open. And I'm gonna leave like a little skin on it so it's not just a wall. So when I cut it, so it's not going straight down, it's going like that into a point. So when I cut it, it has a better chance of sticking on the bat instead of falling off. At first I said maybe I'd throw this on a plastic bat, but that was from last year's concept of letting them sit overnight and then attaching them. But these I'm not doing that with. So this is 4 pounds, is that right? Yes, 4 pounds. To the pointer, evening out the walls. Feeling for the tension in my body, round rim. Okay, my back, my left foot is like a little overly active unnecessarily. So here we go, getting underneath the wall, having my fingers find each other. There we go. Okay. Okay. Now I really have to think about the shape, but first the width. Yeah, it's just going to be a very open bowl. So I think, like I said, I have too much clay. Get under there. I think 3 would have been enough for this size bottom. Just looking over the edge, looking at that pointer. And I also have caliper set, and I know I need to bring it a little wider, but let me just check. Yeah, a little bit more than 1 inch wider. Get that water out of the bottom. And I'll just lay this out by just coming underneath it and giving it some pressure slowly to come out. And that looks about right. Let's go ahead and take care of this rim. just a hair more. Okay, but I'll do that from underneath because I'm starting to put too much pressure on it. So here we go. So at this point I can't really thin it out anymore. I don't really want to have it be that much bigger than this. So whatever this thickness is where we are stopping. Okay. Yeah, like another ½ inch. Okay. See if I can make this nice and round from the bottom, which is the top. And then out a little bit more. And hopefully that was all I need. Let's see, yeah, that's just right. Okay, if anything, just a hair too much, so we'll kind of curl that back in and then finish the shape and then we're done. Okay, seems right to me. All right, let's do this. Hold the rim as I score it. And while it's here, I'm going to hit it with the heat gun. So let's clean up. And I'll go ahead and pause the video for that, but same thing, I'm going to be avoiding the very bottom and the very top. So I'll give you a tiny little preview to that, and then I will let you go and I'll be back. All right, I just wanted to come back on to say, gosh, it took me a lot longer to do this because I think that a bowl shape is much more likely to collapse. It's like much more vulnerable. So I spent a lot of time right here and on the inside at the shoulder to see if I could support it. So let's see how we did. First I have to get the bottom back on and heat gun that, but I just wanted to say that this took longer than the cylinders to do that with. Okay, so I'll just put that there for now and get this guy back. And then I just have to fortify this one to be able to handle the weight. Okay, so here we go with this guy. Gun. Okay, well, let's see how it goes. I'm going to gently take my pedal off of the top, get this ready. I need my single strand cutting wire. Oh, it's right here, if I left it in the right place. Oh, there it is. Okay. Here we go. Oh wait, first slip. Okay. Don't forget the slip. Not too much. Okay. Okay. If yours has gotten out of round at all, just kind of see if you can get it back to as close as round as you can before you do all this, because nearly impossible to attach them if they're not both round. So yeah, that's the challenge of this form, getting it round and keeping it round. Okay. Okay. Foot off the pedal. Okay, we're safe. All right. Reset it here. There. See if I can find the middle. Okay. Okay, great. Okay, let's see here. Doesn't have to be that fast. I'm gonna just keep the bat on while I do a little bit of joining here. Put a little pressure on the bat to help it out. Why not? Okay. Great. Cut her off. Where did you go? Invisible wire. There we go. Okay, hugging the top. I want to put my face on this bat, but it's so full of clay. If I had given this a tiny little undercut, would have helped. Okay, I think I'm under. I'm going to pin one side and gently work the other side across. Okay, keeping it level with the bat. And hopefully, yes. Okay, great. Yes. Okay, so now I have to open this up to get my hand in. Let's get my hands a little bit wet, but not the pot. And slightly off center, so I'm gonna very gently work with this to keep it where it is and just open it up so I can get in there. Okay, great. Kind of looks good like that, right? It's like, okay, leave it. Okay, let's work on this inside. So, just supporting it on the outside and up and down the seam a little bit. Here's some air in there. Little pops. Okay. And I can now see the seam, so I'm going to, this is what happens, like if it's even a hair off of center, this seam becomes more challenging to work with. So, good, okay. Let me compress it with a rib on the outside. Just to really feel like it's nicely joined. Less bubbles. I actually have to go for a little while, so I'm gonna have to come back to this, but let's see what time it is. Okay, got a couple minutes. Okay, so let's see here. Now what I want to do is get the line on the inside. To feel like it's regular, and then I'll come back and I'll trim this little Saturn's ring off. Okay. I don't want that magic ribbon there, but I can use this one. Get in there. Working right in front of myself here at 6 o'clock. Going up and down a little bit on the inside with the red, and then I'll heat gun it. Oops, that's not helpful. I'll heat gun it at that bubble, which I can trim off. That's just extra clay. See if that's enough. Okay. Whoops. The shape is not quite right, so I'm just kind of bringing it out, and then we have that bump here still. You can feel from the inside where it's thick. If you make it equal on the outside, like if I make it so it's the shape looks right on the outside, then I can feel a bump on the inside, so that's how I know there's still more to trim. Okay. This is the horizon, and I don't think I pulled through that enough, so there's still like a little bit of a separation there. Let's see if I can kind of gently massage the seam, make it disappear. And so now I can see from, now that it's all together, I can see that the shape of the second bowl, and probably because I just used too much clay, wasn't exactly what I would have wanted. It's okay, it just makes more work for me in this stage. Okay, see how it flattens out like that? I think of a moon jar as being kind of symmetrically round. So it'll take a little bit of work. First pancake. It's a pretty good pancake for a first pancake. Don't worry, you're very sweet. Speeding up the wheel a little bit, using a little more pressure so I can move the clay a little bit easier. Here I'm lifting, trying to give it a little more roundness without putting too much strain on the joint. Let's see here. do it from the top down with a rib. Better. Okay, let's get that water off the outside. Okay, so I'm going to want to stabilize all this below before I do too much on the top. So I want to get the form where I want it, and I want to heat gun it, and then I want to finish the top. So I might have to add a little water to the top. Starting to rumble. This pot is ready to rumble. The joint is still thick, so I'm going to push it out from the inside again. I gotta postpone my meeting. Oh shit, it starts in 5 minutes. Pause. Okay, meeting postponed. Careful, not to step on the pedal. And let's keep going. Let's see here. Where did I put my... I feel like I lost... Oh yeah, there it is. Oy. This trimmer tool. Okay. So, let's see one more time if we can get a little more of this off. Unfortunately, the seam wound up closer to the horizon than I wanted. I don't know how that happened. Okay. Something changed or... This tool's acting kind of like part rib, part trimming tool. Okay. Okay, let's see here. We're getting there. Extra time makes a big difference. See about this top area. Whoopsie. Just like slammed it in the middle somewhere with my fingernail, just jabbed it. I know I said I was going to use a heat gun on it, but I'm just going to kind of moisten it and see do here. Keeping an eye on it, make sure it's not starting to slump or get weird anywhere. This got very thin where I had that, where I kind of, I think I'll cut that off on the top. It was that part that I thinned out on the against the bat so it wouldn't fall off. It's kind of turned into like a little bit of papery something. Okay, so now let's see here. Get those drips gone. They'll create weak spots. I don't really want to have a bunch of drip lines. Pot can just like rip apart along those lines. Okay. Let me see here. I can get that a little beefier. Don't want a very thin rim on this humongous pot. Okay. So let's see, this is a 6, I guess it's a 10-pound pot, about that. Keeping a finger on the rim so I can thicken it up a little bit here because I want it to be a little bit beefier. Now I'll cut in a line. Oh my god, I love it! Alright, this one's not gonna have a lid, I don't think. I can make a lid for it, but okay. It took a little more effort than I wanted it to because I had a little bit of trouble at the horizon, at the joint, and the shapes weren't just right. But in the end, I feel happy with this. I'm going to clean it up one more time with this. The line could be nicer in here, right here. It's not terrible, but love your lines. It's really nice if we can love our lines. Oh yeah, and then I still have to reconcile the base. So I think I will be trimming this, turning it over and trimming it on a chuck, which hopefully the chuck that I have will be sufficient. And later I might go back on the inside and see if there's anything that needs to be cleaned up on the inside. Yeah, this is still a little thick at the joint right here, so maybe I can just trim that off on the inside later when it's dried up a bit. But I have to say, I do like this pot. It'll shrink a lot because big pots do. But good enough for me for now. Okay, let's get it off. Jar.